The day exercises. It's me and my mushrooms here. What do you think? I feel like I'm like, soon they're gonna be big enough, it's gonna look like I'm actually sitting on them to talk to you. Very some Cheshire Cat, Alice in Wonderland type approach. I'm gonna have water. Dying of thirst. Dying of thirst. God, I've had masks on all freaking morning, running around. I took an Uber. To go get my COVID test today. They're all very sort of masked and fairly well protected and all, I guess, as well as you can be in a freaking car that you're sharing with someone. That is some horrible hair. So I got a Tesla. Y. And what I've done is I've started using the eco mode, where there's you can choose to have eco-friendly vehicles pick you up. Usually it costs a little bit more and it takes a little bit more time, but it's generally worth it, I find. I'm thinking for the planet and also, frankly, for my own comfort. I mean, I just find that for some reason, if you're registered as an eco car, it's something that's sort of registering in their head, and it's usually interesting conversations with these people and stuff. So I got an Uber Y. So I got an Uber, and it was a Tesla, and it was the new Tesla Y. Well, new here anyway, so I'd never been in one. And it was, once I figured out how to actually open the back door, there's this weird thing, you have to sort of push it and pull it, and I was like, really? You had to reinvent the freaking door? But very cool looking, but a little bit more fiddly than, this old man can figure out. So, hopped in this thing. What a freaking cool car. What a cool car. The guy who was the driver who was driving it just loved this thing. So I had a long conversation with him about it, and the whole time in my ear, I've got my earpiece and I'm listening to this U of T robotics hero presentation where they're talking about robotics and healthcare, robotics and care for the elderly, assistive robots, that kind of stuff. It's really one of my favorite areas of technology, I've got to say, for no reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's Iron Man. Maybe it's, I don't know, the idea of melding man and machine. But really, just some interesting discussions going on there about how we need to approach this stuff and how important it is. And this is something that I've discovered in my own sort of ableist approach to this stuff. Originally, you think I've got technology, I've got robots, I've got motors and lights and a little bit of money. I'm going to create a solution and solve every person with disabilities problem. And of course, the reality is, I don't know that experience. I don't know that experience at all. That's not my life. And it's funny, in my exploration of Upgrade Required, which I've basically put on hold right now. I do have another director actually looking at it right now, which could be kind of cool. I think it'd be nice to have a different perspective on it. But throughout all of those discoveries, just the change in my own perspective on this stuff and how important it is not to be considering yourself creating a technology for the users. You need to be working and collaborating with the people who you're making this for, whether that's people with disabilities or the elderly or healthcare professionals or physiotherapists, any of this kind of stuff. I mean, you need to be working with the people who are working with this stuff all the time. And there's just this weird sort of disconnect sometimes between the engineering stage and the sort of the user-friendly aspect of these things. It's one of the issues. It's one of the reasons why I think diversity is so important in the sciences, obviously, and especially in robotics and AI and all this kind of stuff, is because you need all those other perspectives. You need to see things from other angles. You just won't. I mean, it's like saying I'm going to create a plumbing robot, and you don't know a thing about plumbing. Or a dental robot. You've never been in someone's mouth with a dental pick in your life. Anyways, so there you go. This is normal. It's the hardest part. The design is easy. Ha! Yeah, it's interesting. So the using it is harder than the design. I mean, I don't know. I think they both are marvelous and magical in their own way, if you ask me. But I threw Q Dragon and his Cooking with Q. If anyone's not following him on Instagram, go and do that right now, or on YouTube. He is Cooking with Q. Look him up. He's really smart guy. He's an experimental chef, I would say, for want of a better word. He's sort of into that molecular gastronomy, but also goes into sort of experimental recipes and stuff. But he also happens to have SMA type 2, so he can't do most of the actual physical process of this cooking and recipe stuff. He has his caregivers and his parents helping out with that, but he documents it all. He oversees it all. He comes up with all this stuff. He documents it all. He's Instagramming all the time, and so go and check him out. And I said the same thing actually. There were a couple of people who were talking about they wanted to get into sort of kitchen robotics, was something that is an area, a very difficult area for robotics to get into. And to sort of integrate well with this for people, whether they be the elderly or people with disabilities or whatever the specific cases are. But so I said, go and look at Q Dragons. Go look at Q, Cooking with Q, and he's just such a great. He would be a great person to work with on this stuff because he's got all of the insights from the cooking perspective. He's he's documenting the whole process of cooking, so he's aware of all of the things that go wrong and the things that go right and the little tips and tricks and things that work for his recipes and the ones that don't. And of course he has these disabilities that so he can speak to how these tools and tech should be used. So it's kind of fun to have those worlds sort of collide on a little conference going on in my ear as I'm driving around in a Tesla Y. I walked into the studio and I was like, oh man, I drove it in the Tesla Y. So great. They're like, oh my God, did you get it? How much was it? And I'm like, well, it was only like $20 because it's an Uber. And I made him wait outside. I actually said, is there a way that I can get you on the way home too? Because I'd kind of like to spend a little more time with Uber and finding out about it. So very nice guy. We changed the address. I'm sure I paid for it. But so he stayed on the lot while I ran in and got my testing done and then came back out and drove back again. So, yeah, John, to be honest, I haven't spoken to Q for a while. I see a lot of posts, so I'm assuming that things are going well with him. Not sure if I trust robots with anything. Well, that's the problem, Amaya. One of the things that came up in this talk today was, how do you get people to adopt this stuff? How do you get people to adopt this technology? Because it's quite an intimate thing. I mean, if you've got robots in the bathroom and robots in the kitchen, and these are right there. And and I think unfortunately me and my industry have done a horrible job of presenting obviously robotics to the world. I mean, the first thing everyone says is like Skynet or Terminator or Borg. You know what I mean? Like, because of all of this science fiction, invariably the robots go wrong. I mean, Data is a great example of someone who's of a character that has actually sort of transcended that stupid kind of fear of technology kind of thing. People have this absolute sort of phobia of robots for some reason. I mean, I don't. I absolutely love them. Even creepy ones with blinking eyes that I have sitting beside me when I'm streaming and stuff. So, hey, how about that D&D the other day? What do you think of that? Huh? That was a really fun session. And James R. Gurney, follow him on YouTube and follow him on Twitch as well. Just a great dungeon master. And I thought the smartest thing he did was to have the kids and myself come up with background stories about what is the worst thing your character's ever done, because it really sparked the creativity. Those kids really came up with some ideas, and even some of the kids who I didn't think were going to really contribute on that much, they really jumped in with it. So they were definitely challenging my story writing abilities. So it was a really fun one. There's an AI sushi restaurant in New York X-Files, fun episode. There's a sushi restaurant. I mean, Japan has embraced these robotics much more. They seem to be far more culturally sort of accepting of this kind of stuff. So I really want to go to Japan, I got to say. What do you think of, someone had a question. What do you think of the cryptocurrency craze? Are you getting in on it? In a very tiny way, Megan. Megan. I never bought into the Bitcoin thing because I just don't like investing in things I don't understand. I'm happy to play, and I think play is what I've done. I bought like $300 of Ethereum simply because I wanted to see what the process of actually having, what kind of accounts you have to set up, how do you trade it. I just wanted to know the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, you never really understand this stuff until you're actually in there doing it. So I did actually end up buying some Ethereum. I have no idea how it's doing. That really wasn't the point. And then I also bought some Lego figures, and I bought this, approximately, what did I say? I think it was 200. I think it was $200 of each, maybe 2 or 3. I can't remember now. But yeah, like around $200 of Ethereum and $200 of Lego figures. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to juxtapose the two and show kids that investment is really just about, people's perceived value of these things. Like, things are only valuable because we give them value. There's no, like, money is no more valuable than Bitcoin or Lego figures. It's just that it's being imbued this kind of power by governments and the backing of governments and stuff. I mean, it used to be sort of gold, didn't it? It used to be there was a gold standard behind it, but now it's now it really is just about the government saying it's worth what it is, right? So and magic cards, I should totally get $200 worth of magic cards too. You're totally right. As to see how that investment goes. Good idea, Tim. So I would love to understand it better. I mean, it's not. I mean, it is. It's almost as complex as you want it to be. I think the general gist is that they have created a system that effectively polices itself, or at least documents itself. So the blockchain part of cryptocurrency is really just a ledger that keeps track of who's bought and sold this stuff. And so when people go to quote unquote mine Bitcoin, all they're really doing is using their processing power to fill out these ledgers and sort of cross-check everything and make sure that all of the use of the Bitcoin has been documented and properly sort of noted in this blockchain, in this chunk of information about Bitcoin. But the reality is, it's just a digital currency. Like, it's just like, I mean, it's just like, it's the same as what are they called? Like Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies, you buy them for $5. The next thing you know, they're worth 500 because they're a rare one that everyone loves, and you don't know what's going to take off, what's not going to take off. I mean, I know there's some ways of sort of making things more attractive. Like a lot of the Lego figures that are worth a lot of money are the ones that were given away at like Comic-Cons and that kind of stuff. So, and they're, obviously if you want to buy them now, they're hundreds of dollars. If you would have got them free as a giveaway as you came into Comic-Con or whatever, with your purchase of the ticket. So I'm sure you paid for it somehow. Anyways, point being is, it's just about perceived value. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, the neat thing about cryptocurrencies for me is that it's not just about it being used as a type of cash. It can be used as a way of having contracts signed and verified, and it's a way of tracking things in a very sort of very decentralized way. So there's not like one place that has all the information about what's happening with your contracts or with agreements or even payment schedules, all this kind of stuff. It's to the point where it's almost like a scriptable. It's almost like a scriptable cash where you can have programs based around these cryptocurrencies that will do things like, well, because this contract has been signed within the blockchain, it will automatically pull the money at the right time with the right, given this algorithm or whatever it's been given in the actual contract. It can actually be used to apply that to payments and stuff as well. So it's just a lot of, and I'm only scratching the surface of this stuff. I mean, in a way, I think, Barnacle was talking about this library, this LBRE or whatever. I'm not sure what it's called. It's a kind of a new video sharing system, which I believe is distributed, and I think may actually be distributed via blockchain. And the idea again there is the more you contribute to it, the more you get of their currency, and that currency can be used within their own little marketplace and stuff. So it's just kind of cool. Do you remember when the new lands came out in packs signed by the artist? Oh, I never got any of those. Hello, Make a Viking. Rebel Time Lady, The Salt Must Flow. Don't know. Odyssey, that's it. Yes, Odyssey is what I've been goofing around with that. But I tried to upload, so I've got so much stuff, I think it's going to take like 100 years to upload everything. Hoppy, I shall say hello to. I shall say hello to World Builder and Dog. I shall say hello to Kevin. I shall say hello to, I think I've said hi to Hopi. Rebel, Old Get What Games. Megan, of course, Fox Girl. Roland, James, John, Foxgirl, I've said Claptrap, Virus 464, not who, but when and how much with what account number. Yes, exactly. Butt Naked Gamer, woohoo! Ethereum is a computer that runs on the miner's equipment rather than Amazon having warehouses of their own servers they have absolute authority and control over. Yes, Ethereum is a computer that runs on the miner's equipment. Ethereum, it's just distributed basically. So there's no one company technically owns it. Hence no need for government. Well, I don't know about that. Hello, Jim the Evo. He's the Dungeon Master Extraordinaire. John DeCumo says, if researching all this type of tech stuff, any chance you also act and be a consultant on some of these shows? Sometimes the show is completely off. Yeah, John, look, we've run into that ourselves. Hello, Rio Laszlo Falconi. That's an interesting point. I mean, here's the problem you get into, and the best I've ever seen this done on film and television, like the accuracy angle, was on ER. And I did an episode of ER And I was blown away. First off, just by how lovely all the people were, but oh, I can hear Amazon, not Amazon. I can hear Echo somehow debating something with herself upstairs in the kitchen. A little creepy. Anyways, so ER was extraordinary this way because you came onto set, and you would sort of run the lines and get a sense of where people were and what the doctors would be doing, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background as well while we were, we'd have our little family discussion. The docs, the regulars would all be working their stuff there, and then they go, okay, giving it over to the doctors, and then all of the crew would leave, except maybe the director. And although I think the director left as well because he was a producer, so I think he knew this stuff. And the docs came in, and the docs walked everybody through what was happening. And in many cases, it was not so much exactly how it's documented as accurate, but it's things like little shortcuts, little tricks that docs do that curve the edge, that make things a little faster, a little more efficient, that might be a little less wasteful, or whatever. Just lots of little tricks to give the regulars, some sort of some validity to what they were doing. So that was amazing. And then literally we did that until the doctors were happy, and then the doctors would say, okay, great, bring them back in. They'd bring them back in, and we would start shooting. And it was just amazing that they could do that. Science fiction, almost invariably with science fiction, it goes out the window. Because what happens is you can have consultants. They're very rarely are they on set. Sometimes they are, and it's always very nice when they are. But the problem is, and the frustration I'm sure for them is that, science fiction's usually being shot very quickly. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts, and often the first thing to go when time gets crunched or filming becomes complex is the truth, basically, is the true physics behind stuff. And in many cases, because so much of the science fiction is impossible at this point anyways, is indistinguishable from magic at this point, I think there is a tendency sometimes to just go like, well, whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's just, there's only so much we can do. We looked into consultants on debug, and it was never in the budget. Like we could never get, that was just never something that happened. And then we were in production so quickly that I literally forgot about it. Admittedly forgot about it in the midst of the hell that it was to shoot that thing. But anyway, not to make excuses for myself, but the reality is so many laws of physics and science and stuff just gets broken and destroyed and basically laughed at, because you're just trying to get the day, or somebody hasn't done their job, or someone screws up and they figure, oh, we'll fix it later, then they forget about it. So there's a lot of that stuff. I find it very, very disconcerting, and I find it very depressing that films aren't more meticulous in this kind of stuff, that there isn't a budget built in for these kind of things, because there's so many smart people out there. And the other problem is it's not just about getting people to look at this stuff, it's also getting people to listen when you're on set. Producers are like, they're, come on, let's go. And production people are like, again, they just got to get their day. They're just trying to get things done. As in some cases, it's not even about doing as well as possible. It's just about getting it done in time for that camera to start rolling. So there's a lot of those problems in there. I think it's one of the reasons why I'm on streaming. I prefer streaming and YouTube and all this stuff, because frankly, I think there's an honesty to it that I miss from film and television. You know what I mean? There's a weird kind of like, don't look behind the curtain of film and TV, which doesn't appeal to me anymore. Like I really thought by getting into the writing and directing side of stuff that I would sort of peel back the curtain and see what's going on, and I could really be a part of this, of this system. And what I discovered when I pulled back the curtain was a lot of people pretending they know what they're talking about and not. And a lot of money making decisions where it shouldn't, and a lot of concessions being made all along the way. I much prefer this, because the reality is we can talk about this stuff. I can learn. I'm on YouTube all the time now, or Twitch or whatever. I'm learning stuff all the time. I started doing my cultivate your own mushrooms course yesterday. So I've done the first 2 weeks. I shouldn't say I've done the first 2 weeks. I have witnessed the first 2 weeks, because I've done the video and read the documents of it. This is the Odin, by the way. And it is, I had no idea they grow in these little beasts required so much in the way of sterilization. So I've got to look into a little either a little glove box, some kind of a system for me to access stuff in a little clean room, or maybe some kind of a HEPA fan system, and lots of isopropyl alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested in that. If anyone is interested, Josiah Zahner is the guy who runs the Odin, and I just freaking love the guy. He actually offered to send me stuff for free, and I've sort of been sneaking in and buying it because I want to give him the money. I really think he should have the money. His company is fantastic, and what he's doing is amazing. He's basically trying to create those 201 electronics kits only for biology, and I think he's just a fantastic man for doing that. So there you go. So go check him out. It's the-odin.com, I believe it is. But I look at the mushrooms and I'm minded, oh yes, an album cover. It is kind of album cover-like, isn't it? John Brewer wants to know whether Jim thought that I was going to lick the orb or not. I licked a magic orb during Dungeons and Dragons last night, so I think that seemed to cause a bit of a stir for some people. Frankly, I just made complete sense to my character. Aren't they kind of lovely? I think mushrooms are absolutely beautiful. I mean, some of them are rather creepy and slimy and some horrible phallic looking ones as well. But I do think that they are kind of extraordinary, especially how fast they grow and the sheer sort of volume of material you get from so little is extraordinary to me. And it sounds like the idea is to sort of break these things open, pull out the mycelium, I believe, from the center, which is going to be cleaner than anything else. You sort of what do they call, like, inoculate this damp, clean, steamed cardboard, nice corrugated cardboard, and you get that stuff in there and roll it up into sort of like a mycelium burrito type thing, and then it starts to sprout, and then you can inoculate other things with that as well. So just I'm really looking forward to playing with that, and again, my hat's off or my hair's off in this case. God, it really is. Look at that. Hello, island of lost hope. Look at that. It's like, take a look at me now. I wanted to be James Dean. I ended up being Phil Collins. It's amazing. I guess if they're ever doing Buster 2, I'll be there for it. I'll be there for you. There's a song too. Maybe I'll just start singing. Space Spores, indeed. Okay, one more try. Hey, Hewlett, fella. Nice shrooms. I'm still interested in helping with the bandits tech stuff. I did tweet you, but thank you, Native. I just haven't got around to it yet. I'm so sorry. There's a number of people I've got to get back to, and I'm trying to do that. And then of course this week until Wednesday, I'm going to be spending a lot of my time learning lines. So I will try to get back to you later, and I do very much appreciate it. I just want to I have to sort of like slowly wade through this through all the people I should be talking to, and it's embarrassing. But yes, you have not been forgotten. Thank you very much. I know we need to talk about VFX at some point. Understandable, no worries. So thank you. But feel free to keep reminding me, because I am terrible about that. I still have a freaking CNC, a giant CNC that Jonathan MLH was very kind to donate to us. Send me the cash so I could buy this thing. I still haven't built it because it's too freaking cold in the garage, and I don't know if it's going to fit in here. But I'm thinking I might just have to build it in here anyways, because frankly, I want to play with it. I also have this little beast here, this little Saint Smart, which they were kind enough to send my way. And when I say kind enough, I begged them. I said, please, for the children. So I'm going to I want this little box I want to build. It's my father's 80th birthday coming up, and I've got some ideas for things I'd like to do. So 40, Rebel time, ladies, 40. 40. Oh, 40. Oh, to be 40 again, Rebel lady. It feels like only yesterday. Insulate the garage and extend the workshop. Yeah, no kidding, Michael. Yeah, I'd love to do that, but I also have a bathroom upstairs that needs to be renovated. In fact, it needs to be renovated so badly that I've already destroyed it. And that whole thing about earning a living right now, there's a bit of acting to do. Acting, I say. A bit of acting to do. I won't think someone think of the children. Okay, 54 here. Yeah, 54, 56. 40 this year, Lindsay. Wow, hence the name. Old Get What Games. That's basically where I'm at, Old Get What Games. Let's just say I'm well into my 50s. 61. Build a hood to work with the mushrooms. Yeah. Do you think you could use an old kitchen hood? Could you do that, do you think? I mean, I have a little. I always like playing with fans. There's some nice giant fans, I felt like a nice HEPA filter type thing. Maybe make your own, a DIY. The cheapest and I think probably the easiest approach would be a glove box. I think, because that is just a giant storage container with couple of armholes cut out of it, and that would probably be fairly cheap and easy, cheap and cheerful to do. The kids can do that. I'm not sure they're all going to be building giant HEPA filters in their basement. So, trying to work with the kids, man. Veluro, I'm 16 on the 23rd. Well, congratulations on 16. Oh, 16's a good year. 16 was a good year. All of the teens enjoy. I said to my son the other day, he was like, oh, I wish I was older type thing. And I'm like, oh, he said, I can't wait until I'm older. I'm like, here's the thing. You'll always be older. You'll always get older. You know that's happening, but you'll never be younger. So just enjoy that. Don't be looking forward. Enjoy what you got. Do what you can while you're 16, and you can only do while you're 16. Yeah. Oh, have a great time. Happy birthday. Good evening, sir, to you. Rinse Windle. That's my beautiful way of saying your name. I cannot talk for too long because here's what I'm going to do. In 25 minutes, I am talking to Gimpy G, the Gimpy God, who is a gentleman that I've met on Barnacle stream who wants to talk about some assistive tech, and I'm very, very interested in seeing what we can plot and scheme about, what we can conspire on. I'd love to be working with him on some assistive stuff. So I'm kind of excited to see what comes up out of that. And then we'll see how the chat goes today. And depending on what we decide, maybe we'll hop on a stream at some point and we can discuss it or see what we're going to be up to. So I'm going to gently mist my mushrooms with a light misting of water, and then I'm going to go lightly mist myself with water. I'm not sure I'm going to have time actually. I think Gimpy God, you may end up with me in my burn and learn mode. Actually, I may just have to stick to the shorts and t-shirt for the time being. So there you go. And then I've got it's going to be a little busier this week because I've got filming tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday? No, filming on Wednesday. But as I say, I've got a fair number of lines and scripts to catch up on. So I got to do that. I have read over the one that I'm in and the one after the one that I'm in, but I'm missing one between the one that I last did. If you notice, by the way, if you listen to the Clarice, no, that's all right. I'm going to tell you anyways. If you listen to the Clarice trailer, there is a voice that says, "There's fire in your veins, starling." That's me. That's my voice. I was very excited because it played during the Super Bowl, which was quite a surprise to me. Unfortunately, you don't see my face because, of course, that quite naturally they're on the far more intelligent, important, and attractive Agent Starling. But that's my voice in the background. So listen out for it when you hear the promos. So that's it's called Clarice. It's the Silence of the Lambs thing that they're doing. And I didn't tell you anything other than, boy, whose voice was that in the trailer? That's all. I suck at this. I just suck. All right. Lucretia, thank you very much. Right back at you. Rebel Time Lead has osteo in my knees. Oh, God, knees is such a jerk. I tore my ligaments and tendons. Oh, God. Man, knees are just like nature's cruel jokes. Ankle by inverting it, so I feel you. Oh my God. Good evening from England. Hello, Will Rab. Take a brief moment from my nuclear Half-Life assignment to tune in. Oh, very good. Okay, well, good. You're really Half-Life assignment. Is that like either a gaming thing or is it an actual truly Half-Life, of radioactivity kind of project going there? Oop, giant thumb. Look out as I try to attempt to move this stuff. Feet are my job. Anyone want to drop a foot problem? There you go. Sherry's on it. Can't wait for you to be able to share with us what you're working on set now. It's Lucretia. All right, got it. Lucretia. What was I saying? Lucretia. All right, so try to say Lucretia. I don't know why I have to add like a weird sort of slight accent to it for some reason. It's like an actor thing. Walking over a mile is better than running it. That's so funny. I used to find, and I don't know why this would be the case, I used to find that running was easier on my joints than walking. I would do a walk. I would do an hour walk and my knees would hurt. I would do like an hour run and my knees were fine. Or maybe just everything hurts so much after an hour run that I just didn't notice. But I'm walking the dog like every night now for at least 30, 35 minutes. And in the horrible frozen cold north that we're living in with the frozen puddles all over the damn sidewalk, it's a freaking nightmare. I feel like a total old man. And I'm going to complain about it. Hey, legend. Thank you, Kenny. I thought you missed today, but well done for sticking with it. No, I couldn't. Believe me. So the first thing I did was I we had breakfast with my son, who I'm very proud of. Has got into 2 of the 3 schools he applied to for next year, and I think that's very, very good. And of course, as everyone does, has focused on the one that he didn't get into, which I think he did a really good job on, I got to say. But it wasn't really it wasn't his sort of area of, should we say, expertise, should we say. There's a lot of sort of manual drawing skills, which he's more of he prefers the computer to the pen and pencil, I would say. Anyways, but he's gotten 2 great schools, so we're very, very proud of him for that. So we had a breakfast about that, not a breakfast about that, we had breakfast and discussed that. Then I took off in my Uber, which turned out to be a Tesla Y. I took that, went and got my COVID test, hopped back in the Tesla again, drove home. God, I wish I had a Tesla Y. I gotta say, I really like the Tesla Y, but you'd have to get the 4-wheel drive. I would want the 4-wheel drive. I'd want the auto drive because, frankly, like what's the point of having a Tesla if it won't drive for you? By the end of it, once you've customized it down to basically, a fully autonomous vehicle, it's like $80-something thousand. And I was just like, dude, I love you, but we don't got that kind of coin. I wish one day, maybe if they ever reboot Stargate and I'm back on a regular basis, I'll go for the Tesla, but I don't think that's going to be happening before that. All right, I learned about fungus in high school. Yes, I was supposed to, but I didn't. Weren't you considering a COVID car purchase? Yeah, that's exactly it, Tammy. And I was looking for electric because that'd be kind of fun to have an all electric vehicle. I wondered about like maybe doing a hybrid because then you wouldn't have to worry about charging it so much, because I do tend to spend a lot of time looking at the gauge. I mean, even with gas, I look at the gas the whole time. It's an anxiety thing or like an OCD thing or something where I'm constantly like, how long do you think we've got? And now they got the cars that tell you how long you've got until you run out of gas. And I never believe them. So, post my SGAR to the Iron Hand. Just go, oh, great. I will check it out. Very good. Thank you very much. I shall have a look. Intermittently, I go in there and poke around. Even Elon admits the Tesla build quality is poor. What? He said that? Yeah, I would love to see a new Stargate 2. Wouldn't it be fun? I'm telling you, Stargate Academy, right here. Vice Principal McKay, running the academy. Maybe Sam Carter's the principal, that kind of thing. And we just have like young kids come in and they're they could be working out too, but they could working out how to be, true SG members and like noble, brilliant old folks like me are there to guide their way and cause chaos. But I'd be like Snape. I should be like Snape at Stargate Academy. So there you go. That's my pitch for it. The problem is there's a million ideas for Stargate. It's just about who owns the rights to these things. Now I've got to go because it's past half an hour and I got to go talk to Gimpy in like 15 minutes. And that is, by the way, his screen name, just to be very, very clear. Gimpy God is what he calls himself online. So I'm going with that. If he's calling himself that, I'm calling him that. I mean, no disrespect, of course. So there you go. So we're going to go have fun to chat about assistive technology. And so I'll talk to you later. So I will say, until we geek again, be safe, be kind, be brilliant, and cheerio. And as I like to say, my dog's name, huzzah! Cheers. See y'all. Have fun.